Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramon, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast.
BrainShare Business Mentors proudly presents BrainShare.us, the ultimate business education platform, delivering the proven systems, processes, tools, and knowledge that empower you to build the business of your dreams. With 13 high-powered courses encompassing over 240 lessons accessed online on your schedule. Running a business is the hardest thing you'll ever do. We've helped thousands of business owners gain the leadership, communication, and business skills needed to build the business of their dreams. We can help you. Choose your learning path. Scuba Squad is the premier membership program for today's business leaders with access to all BrainShare material and double our money-back guarantee. BrainShare Basics, the ultimate business framework course, a hard-hitting 13-week program to lay the necessary foundation to build the business of your dreams. Or take individual courses as you need them. Every course has dozens of lessons, with video, practical exercises, precise documentation, and the opportunity for direct feedback from a BrainShare mentor. All programs have our exclusive 30-day money-back guarantee. No questions asked, don't wait. Choose your path and start today.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. Doing business and life with a purpose, serving others, and yes, achieving success. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. We created this show for you because we want everyone to be motivated, inspired, and educated to make an impact in your world. My incredible guest today, all the way out from the United Kingdom, he's going to be incredible. But while you're listening to him today, I want you to think about how you're going to serve today and what impact will you create today. With that being said, impact. I love my international guests because it brings us a different perspective on a servant's heart, servant leadership. We were just talking in the green room before the show about one of my shows recently and talked about servant leadership, and it's worldwide. It's just not in the United States. It needs to be taken care of everywhere. Bruno, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for the invite, Steve. I feel very honored to be here.
Me too. I'm so excited. Let's jump into servant leadership. You had mentioned that. What's your thoughts and definition of that?
Servant leadership, well, I call human-oriented leadership because servant leadership is about service, not servitude. Many people get confused with service and servitude. And service is always others-oriented, not self-centered, but others-oriented. You want the best for every stakeholder in business, any stakeholder related to your company. This means that you want to bring about positive impact on customers, employees, but also suppliers, business partners, and also the community and the environment. The servant leader, according to my view and the view of many specialists, is the leader that has a much more open-minded approach regarding business, tend to be humble. This means that he's looking for others' opinion, is not a know-it-all person, is a person that is willing always to learn from their own mistakes, but also learning from a specialist, even from the janitor working, for example, cleaning the facilities, is a very humble person, but also is a person that is very compassionate. In my book, The Art of Compassionate Business, I mention compassion a lot, and being compassionate implies that you connect to others on a mental level, you understand how they think, and also you connect to others in an emotional level. Yeah. This means that you understand how they feel, but also compassionate people try to help others, especially when they face challenges. So this means that this type of leaders, and doesn't have to be the CEO, anyone can be servant leader, could be the one at the top bottom of the organization, any part of the organization, the one serving a customer and so on. So these servant leaders tend to support others. According to research, being compassionate take only 1 minute. 1 minute. So it's a very short time that you can take to help people. And when people are compassionate with others, when they try to support others, people that are being supported feel at ease. They feel also that they belong to the community, this, for example, the workplace, and also they feel supported by the company. These servant leaders treat people like family. They don't, in some cases, they go against the rule of hierarchy. They don't respect so much what is people at the top with a lot of authority and power, and at the bottom with no power. But on the contrary, they try to be inclusive, they try to foster diversity, and they try to foster different views. They believe that anyone can bring about very positive views. And for the reason, according to my research, I observed that these servant leaders also foster what we call multi-departmental meetings. These mean meetings where you have people from the marketing department, from the production department, from the administrative department, to talk about any topic, not only topics specialized to each of these departments. Why? Because they want to have a much more multi-dimensional view of the problem, different view, different perspective. And these servant leaders also, they are very keen on creative techniques like brainstorming, looking for different perspective on business, benchmarking, a practice of excellence. So servant leaders go beyond the concept of leaders, that is not only being passionate, having a very strong vision, but also helping people bring about a positive change, allowing them to make their positive contribution to important decisions, especially decisions that have a positive impact on all stakeholders.
I like that. And I like the word that you use. Servitude is people, that's not what you are. I love that. Because a servant's heart has compassion. Now, I've done 350 shows, Bruno. Bruno, you're the first one to use compassion with a servant's heart, because that is a vital part of it. You know, you're never going to have a servant's heart without compassion. How does servant leadership change internationally? Because you work in Europe, and there's always a question I always wondered the answer to. Is it any different, or is it really the same?
No, servant leaders look for similarities, not differences. We see that difference tend to separate us. Different views, different political perspectives, different religions, different views of the world. Instead, servant leaders try to look for the commonality of all people. And what is the commonality of all people? That we are all human beings. We all have fears, we all have positive experiences, negative experiences, dreams, expectations, we have failures, and servant leaders tend to connect to others beyond their views, beyond their roles, because they know, these servant leaders know that people working for a company, they're not their role. They're not the customer officer, they're not the marketing manager, but they are people that have emotional needs, mental needs, social needs, economic needs, and they try to consider each person in a multidimensional way. They try to meet these multiple needs. So most of the traditional leaders only try to meet the economic needs. So they try to focus on, okay, let's pay good salary to this employee, let's give a good product with a good price to this customer. But instead, servant leaders try to consider the human being that include other needs. But also I want to mention for servant leaders that these servant leaders tend to focus on two main aspects of business. Traditional leadership tend to focus on what we call the key performance indicators that are quantitative aspects of business, such as profitability, productivity, efficiency, and quality levels. Instead, servant leaders take into account these factors that are very important, but also take into account the qualitative aspect of business, what cannot be measured in a precise way, what cannot be counted, such as compassion, generosity, gratitude, care, sympathy, kindness, and other aspects that are very important to build up robust, long-lasting relationship with the stakeholders. These servant leaders consider that the most important aspect in business is not technology, is not funds, is not information, but is the human being. Because the human being is a meta resource, is a resource that generates other resources. The human being, be it an employee, be it customer, be the business partner, bring about other resources. Business model, in the case of employees, can bring about new product, new services, new systems, new processes. So they try to encourage this human being to be their best. In the case, for example, of employees, they try to mentor these employees, they try to coach them when possible, they try to offer training on the job, they try to harness their skill, but also they try to develop new skills. They try to bring about meaningful tasks for these employees so that they don't get bored, they don't get demotivated. I observe that many companies, very sadly, try to give employees always the same task, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and these employees get bored. They get demotivated even when they're paid a good salary. Instead, these type of leaders that you see all over the companies, in some cases, companies that are very human-oriented, these try to bring about, for example, job rotation. The employee can work, for example, 1 month in the marketing department, the other month in the administrative department, so they have a much more holistic view of the company. They don't have only a partial view, but also they try to show how their tasks connect to the meaningful purpose of this company. So how every little contribution make up a very important contribution to the society to different extents.
Yeah, I like that. That's changing jobs is great, so people know more jobs, and it really makes a company stronger, protected, because people are going to get sick, people are going to miss, and that happens. If you know more of your company, what their roles are, it's great. So I'm figuring, Bruno, you're going to tell me that companies that focus only on profits is probably not a good thing.
It's not a good thing. You know why? Because counterintuitively, when you focus only on profit, in many cases, you tend to focus on profit and try to obtain this profit by all means. This means that, for example, exploiting employees, deceiving customers, polluting the environment. This will be extreme of what we call profit orientation.
Mhm.
But we have to understand that the profit don't come from the sky. They don't come out of the blue. They come only from they are the natural result and the effortless result from a strong, long-lasting relationship with the stakeholder. Why? Because company cannot succeed without customer, cannot succeed without employees, cannot succeed without business partner. Companies interdependent with all these stakeholders. Wouldn't it be nice to have all these stakeholders on our side? You can afford them to be on your side. The only way that they will contribute to your company's mission and your company's key performance indicator will be building a strong, long-lasting relationship with these stakeholders. And the only way to build this relationship is to satisfy each party's needs. This means that customer will satisfy the company's need and you satisfy the customer needs. So this means that this is a reciprocal approach. This means that servant leaders and companies that are compassionate, they only admit win-win agreements where every party involved wins. No party wins at the expense of others. Why? Because if not, this stakeholder might like to withdraw. Supposing that you are winning as a company and you are exploiting an employee, paying pennies for their contribution, not recognizing when they work hard over time. Well, this employee might leave the company as soon as they have a better job opportunity. The company might win temporarily, but then they will lose because they will have to hire a new employee, which implies higher costs, and will look for publicize, for example, another job opportunity, interview the employee. So the company might win in the short term, but loses in the long term. So instead, when the company in each of the business decisions take into account the well-being of all stakeholders, this company bring about positive economic indicator, profitability, productivity, etc., naturally. So this means that the way of achieving this indicator is indirect. You focus on relationship, and this relationship, the stakeholders that are part of this relationship will help you, will contribute to your success, to your economic success, because you need them and they need you.
What's one tip you can give a company that hears this and goes, okay, I don't want to focus on profits? What's a tip you can give them so they don't focus?
The tip is focus on having a generous attitude. Whatever the role that you play, generosity is key. There is a lot of research on generosity and business. And some might say, oh, but our company don't have funds. We cannot pay a focus to our employees. There are two types of generous approaches. One that you give tangible things. For example, employees is working more and you pay a bonus, you pay higher salary and so on. But another approach will be giving intangible things to all stakeholders. For example, the employee is working hard. Can you write a thank you note? Can you personalize thank you note handwritten and give this to the employee? Can you organize an event to recognize this employee publicly? Can you mention this employee in the newsletter as the employee of the month? Can you provide this employee with technical advice, with mentoring, with coaching, with training? Can you give this employee a year when they have personal problems? Can you give this employee the possibility to have flexible time when you have family challenges? So this means that in some cases, the intangible things are even more important than the tangible things. A question that I want to challenge the listener to ask themselves is, how can I be more generous in my role? If you are the leader, how can I be more generous leading this company? If I am the customer officer, how can I be more generous with customer and my colleagues? Because generosity, according to research, begets generosity. Instead, when people are self-centered, the others perceive this and they tend to act in a reciprocal way. They tend to withdraw and say, okay, they're not caring for me. They're not appreciating me. I don't count. So, and they tend to withdraw. Instead, when you are generous, you are others oriented, like compassion too. Compassion is a way of being generous, and they tend to reciprocate. You are generous with others, and they tend to reciprocate. In the case of customer, when you are generous with customer, you are more likely to delight customer, because many companies only try to satisfy the customer need. This is not enough. This is very mediocre in my view. But delighting customer means exceeding customer expectation. You give them more than expected. For example, they buy a computer and you offer them a training course free. They buy a mobile phone and you offer the case for the mobile and you offer delivery services free. And when you are generous with customer, they feel indebted to your company and they tend to be generous. They leave positive reviews, they recommend your product to other customers, they become silent ambassadors. They promote your product without you paying them. And they are very credible because they're more credible than advertising, because advertising only try to highlight positive things, company pay for things. Instead, customers are very credible for other customers.
Yeah, that's true. And that was my next question. How do you bring loyalty? And I love going above beyond. Yeah, we can all do and give them a great product, but like you said, give them shipping for free or give them a free training course or a video that you did to walk them through it at no cost.
Very important. And also consider customer as human beings, because many companies, how they consider customer? They consider customer as a means to an end. This is a figure in my database, number 101, customer 101. They are depersonalizing customer, and they say, this customer will contribute to my profits in this way. But what about customer needs? They have needs that are legitimate and need to be recognized. What about their economic needs, their emotional needs? They might be fearful of buying a product. How you can reduce this risk of buying a product? Can you offer, for example, a trial period for them to test the product with no commitment? Can you advise them to buy the product that is the best for them, not the best for your company? When a company is adopting an attitude of service, they try to offer the best product for this customer. What I observe that many companies that are not compassionate, they try to sell the most expensive product for this customer because they get the higher profit, the best commission, but this product might not be suitable. Instead, when the company adopt an attitude of service, they try to think about this specific need of the customer. Even the customer might belong to a group, let's say an age group or a gender group. They look for a specificity. They say, what this customer needs, how can I find out? They ask a lot of questions. They like to learn from customers. They don't have an attitude of know-it-all. They explore the customer need and also try to approach them in a personalized way. They try not to offer the same product to every customer. They will try to look for a specific product that are suitable for that customer, but might not be suitable for other customers.
Yeah, I like that. Talk about your book.
Well, my book is the second edition. It's published by Rutledge. It's titled The Art of Compassionate Business. The cover is white, in white, and also this is sold all over the world in bookshop like Amazon and others offline. And also the book includes hundreds of cases on compassionate companies. Some of the topics that I discuss in my book in detail, more than 400 pages, are the importance of a meaningful mission, the importance of passion in business, how passion drives companies to be much more compassionate, much more profitable, but also the importance of what I call abundance mindset, how you develop an abundant mindset in business and how it's different from a scarcity mindset. Other topics that I mentioned in my book are, for example, how to develop a loving attitude with different stakeholders, customers, employees, business partners, the community, And the two last chapters are about innovation and creativity in business. There are other appendices that are mentioned in the book too, that I analyze topics such as stress in business, manipulation and marketing. Other approaches are social media, how to be much more empathetic when using social media, and others. So it's a very complete book. I'm very satisfied, and I always have the support from the publisher. And the comment from the book, I presented the book worldwide, and the comments are very good. And I hope that if the reader buy this book, they will enjoy it.
I like it. Thank you for sharing that. Sounds exciting. And the title of the book again is?
The Art of Compassionate Business. It's published by Routledge, and the cover is white.
Beautiful. I see you're a university professor. How do students take to this servant heart, servant leadership business?
Very good, because most of the students are the new generation and are the future. So this means that these students, for example, Generation Z, Y, X, they are much more prone to be much more socially oriented. They care, many of this generation care for the environment. They're always thinking about a much more holistic approach to the society. They feel and they understand that we're all interconnected. And if someone behaves in an unethical way or in a non-compassionate way, this will bring about negative ripple effects. Instead, when someone contributes in a positive way, this brings about positive ripple effects. When I give this talk to my student, I'm also teaching marketing and ethics at one of the universities. I feel that the students feel very identified, because they feel that there is a different view of doing business. It's not only about profit, but it's what we call the triple bottom line. That is profits, P for profit, but also P for people, customers, suppliers, employee, community member, and P for the planet. We call the 3P model. And these students feel very enthusiastic, and they are very interested in companies, the new generation of companies that are adopting this new business perspective.
We're all in the people asset business. As you said through the whole podcast, we've got to take care of people. That's good, because I'm a little concerned with our students and our younger generation getting this business thing. If they're getting it, that's good, because what you just said, Bruno, if you put that in your business, you will grow. You'll get more income, all that,
effortlessly, because the growth will be with no effort, because you don't have to force any stakeholder to contribute to your company. I don't like, for example, when some especially use the concept of customer retention. You cannot retain customers. You can delight them, and they will stay by themselves unconditionally, supporting your company. Instead, when you try to force them into buying something, you're manipulating them, and customer will fly away, will look for other product, other company. You cannot force a stakeholder to support you, but you can care for them, and they will support you in return. We call the law of social reciprocity. You treat others well, and they tend to treat you in the same way in return.
Yeah, I love the delight customers. That should be a new skill, delight your customers. Well, I want to find out something about Bruno personally. So what does Bruno do outside of work?
What I like to do two things. I like to walk a lot in the park. Here in London, we have a lot of parks. I like green spaces. And according to research, this is very good to clear your mind, to have creative insight. Many of the insight, I'm now finishing my new book, and many of the insight come when walking into the nature. Why? Because you have fewer stimuli. So I like to walk a lot in the parks. Here we have a lot of parks, but also I like to practice meditation. I observe that also many companies are introducing meditation. I do twice a day, 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night. Why? Because meditation also, again, calm our monkey mind, continually bringing about thoughts, in some cases, a lot of rubbish thoughts. And when you are meditating, you connect to yourself. You connect to your state of well-being that is always there, but in some cases is shadowed by stress or shadowed by a lot of busyness. And I recommend any type of meditation is good. And you don't have to do 20 minutes twice a day, but at least 5 minutes. Stop when you have work a lot at a company. According to research, you should stop at least 5 minutes every 1 hour. Go walk in the park if you have, or look at the plant if you don't have any park nearby. Look anything green that is around, or listen to some nature sounds. This will relax you. And a mind that is more relaxed is less prone to adopt a free fight flight mode, and you tend to be more productive, more creative at work, and more creative with your relationship, non-business relationship. That is very important. I try to also keep a life work balance. I try to be balanced. This is quite important.
And this is a selfish question for me, but how does somebody start meditating? What's your first tip?
My first tip is, well, you can take a course. In my case, I took a course, but if you don't want to take any course, focus on your breathing. This means that you should focus on your breathing and also close your eye, look for a quiet place, and also focus on your breathing. And also, if any thought come out, observe this thought as an external witness and come back to your breathing. This is the easiest way to meditate. This is the one that I have been doing since my teenage years and keep me calm, because calmness is the basis of creativity, the basis of productivity, and the basis of meaningful relationship. There are many reasons for us to be stressed, but you are in control when you keep yourself calm. So focusing on the breathing for 5 minutes and also not being so annoyed by the thought that come out, you observe them as you were an external witness, and then you come back to your breathing in, breathe out. This is the simplest way, but you can have different type of meditation courses, transcendental meditation, or any other courses that are very good for meditating. All of the meditation styles are very good. Some of them are effective. Mindfulness or transcendental meditation are very popular, but I recommend any of them.
Well, count me in. I'm going to start today. You got me fired up. That's
very
really
important.
Cool.
Very important.
Yeah.
You will notice the changes very quickly, very quickly.
That's the thing I hear. Well, we'll run down into the show here. How can people find you, Bruno?
Well, they can find me 2 ways. My website, www.brunosignaco.com, Signaco with double C at the end, or they can connect to me on LinkedIn. I generally publish some interviews, some articles, some views on business. You can connect to me and you will be very welcome.
That's fantastic. And then I want to thank Bruno, Dr. Bruno. He's a doctor, by the way. I always love, you worked hard to get that. I know you, Bruno.
Call me Bruno.
Yeah. But anybody that's got a PhD, I give great credit because that's a lot of work. And I appreciate you so much. And listen to this podcast with the forward and reverse buttons. There's tips here: compassion, don't be servitude, open-minded, generous attitude, innovation. These are things that Bruno talked about, and the human-oriented servant heart is the biggest one. So use the forward and back buttons on the platform you're looking at: YouTube, Apple, Spotify, whatever it be. We'd love for you to watch the whole show or listen to the whole show. But if 5 minutes resonate with you and make a difference in your world, me and Bruno are going to be very happy with that. Don't forget my TV show, which is every Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. It's on Apple TV, Roku, and all these streaming services. You can find it there, or go to e360tv.com. And then last but not least, my swag, doing business with a servant's heart. Put it on your chest, put it on your head. I have hats, I have shirts that you can wear this message proudly to the world. And let's get the message out of being a servant's heart before anything else. And as always, me and Bruno, thank you so much for listening and watching this podcast. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with the Servant's Heart.